Okay, so we continue with our chapter 23, and our topic is sewing and tearing. So just to remind you, it's sewing and tearing are two separate pelachas. I mean, we combine into one because they are sometimes interdependent, right? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. And we say sewing. It's not only sewing with a needle and a thread, even though of course it is a sewing. But it's also combining two things, like from two different items, entities into one, get them together, right? Or even two sides of the one, like for example this book. They can glue a book right here close, right? Or two books together or something. Okay, so by any means, any glue, anything, right? That is more or less permanent. Okay, and just quickly, I'm not going to review this. So we discussed the safety pins, right? And we said the proper is to go only once and then close. In case that if you're not going to forget to remove it, so you can do the needle would come from the same side, meaning 1 and 2, right? But only if you would undo it in 24 hours. Right? But then we say, well, whatever is forbidden to pin together, it is also forbidden to remove such a pin. Then we said brooch pin. There is no problem whatsoever because usually they remove it after the use. And the next one, D, is band-aids. And I think this band-aids is much more common than this safety pin band-aids. Okay. So let's see. Although most poskim forbid sewing even when the stitch is to be left in place for less than 24 hours, right? Okay. Most of poskim. It is permitted to tape an adhesive item to another surface for less than 24 hours. Taping is forbidden only when the item will be left attached permanently, right? For example, there is more than 24 hours. In case of necessity, taping for up to 7 days may be permitted. Okay, maybe let's do one more paragraph and then we combine. It is thus permissible to put band-aid over a wound, since the band-aid certainly stands to be removed before long. However, one should be careful to attach band-aid only to skin, from when one must ultimately separate. One should not fasten one band-aid to another, since the person's tendency is to peel the lower one away from the skin and discard both band-aids without separating them from each other. Similar when wrapping band-aid around the finger, one should not fasten the end of it to the ends of it to the other, since he ultimately slips off and discarded without separating the ends. Rather, one should wrap band-aid around the finger in an angle so that both adhesive ends touch the skin. Maybe we can do this demonstration. I have band-aids here. Let's see. If one mistakenly fasten one end of band-aid to another on Yom Tov, he should be sure to unfasten the ends when removing band-aid. Okay, so let's stop here. So let me quickly see if I can find the band-aid. 1 second, quickly. Okay, I got band-aid. Okay, I got one. So let's see. So let's do from the beginning and let's discuss these ones. Okay. So again, as the way I see it, it's the most common. Band-aids, and the next one is diapers. Okay. So again, band-aids. Although most poskim forbid sewing even when the stitches will be left in place for less than 24 hours. That's and we always try to abide by this opinion. So like for example, you have multiple what is it, the safety pins, so you just should pierce only once. Okay. It is permitted to tape an adhesive item to to another surface for less than 24 hours. So meaning like band-aids and depends where on the body you're going to leave band-aid, but usually because of the sweat and because of these body oils, right? The body produces, even without sweat, it's going to fall off after some time. I'm not sure how long they would last if you don't if you don't moisten them. I don't know, maybe a few days, right? But if it's on the hands, few hours, maybe until the end of the day tops. Okay. Right, so but technically they say there is no problem. They be forbidden only when item is left attached permanently. There is more than 24 hours. So I would say on hands it would be the safest way, right? So meaning less than 24 hours for sure, but because we wash our hands many times a day. Okay. So in cases of necessity, taping up to 7 days may be permitted. And again, so even if you put something under your clothing, like you would put this band-aid, it's not going to last 7 days. Most likely that you're going to take shower and you're going to exchange it. Okay. So technically, so far no problem. It is permissible to put band-aid over the wound, since the band-aid certainly stands to remove before long. And so the good question that they don't ask and don't answer is why band-aid are permitted to begin with, right? We said we're not allowed to take medicine, so it's not considered to be medicine because does not help. It just prevent from something to occur, right? It would prevent from infection, right? It would prevent you from bleeding further. That's why it is permitted. So it's not to cure, but it's it's prevention. And plus what else? No, prevention. And to remove discomfort. For example, if you have a cut on a finger or something, and then you touch with something it's going to hurt. Okay. And plus, it is for sure it's temporary because you're going to remove it. Okay. One should not fasten band-aid to one another, since the person's tendency to peel the lower one away from the skin and discard the other. So basically, what does it mean? So sometimes person do the crisscross or one next to another, right? And then we remove the lower one, and of course the top one is also removed. That's the problem. That's what we should not do. Okay, that's one problem. And the problem is that that this attachment to band-aids was done permanently. So now when you throw them out, of course you do not care that they attach. Yes, but the fact is that you attach you sewn in double quotes two band-aids together. Right. So if you need to put on your wound two of them together, so make sure, right, that you separate them, right? Or some crisscross that some people do, right? In order so it holds better. whatever is it. Okay. And the second issue, similarly, when wrapping the band-aid around the finger, one should not fasten one end one end of it to the other, since it might ultimately slip, often discarded without separating the ends. And that's what I want to show, because that's what people do, including myself sometimes. But I'm trying to train myself, like to do it, like if I needed to do it on Shabbos, so it would be like on a weekday it's Shabbos. So like one part you go up, like I don't know if you can see, and no, I cannot see. Sorry, and one part you go down, like the two ends would not meet. So it's both ends must be stick to the skin. Okay, all right. So that's the way we do it. Otherwise, why you're going to remove and you're going to throw out, like with two ends attached. So you say, what is the problem? Big deal? Yes, it's a big deal. Right? It's for sure it's milacha. Of course, it's not biblical. Of course, it's rabbinical, but we don't know what distraction these small things do in Shemayim. Right? So we try to be careful. Continue. But if a person did this by mistake, so you can always undo it, right? Before, like if you need to do it on Shabbos, or if you remove it like that, there is no problem. Undo before throwing out. Okay. Rather, one should wrap band-aid around this finger at the angle. That's what I was trying to show, but it's like short. And the angle, so that both adhesive end touch the skin. That's it. That's the main idea. So they don't touch each other, but touch the skin. If one mistakenly fasten one end of band-aid to the other on Yom Tov, you should be sure to unfasten the ends when removing the band-aid. So that's, of course, there is people do mistakes, but it's possible to fix it. Okay. All right. So continue. Similar on plus, you have to watch, especially with guys, the hair. Right? When you remove the band-aid, make sure that you don't pull any hair, right? Because it's going to be plucking for sure, ripping. Okay. Continue. Similarly, one should not use a band-aid or tape to secure cloth or gauze bandage in place of Yom Tov. Rather, one should tie a bandage down with a handkerchief. However, if one did secure it with a tape, one should be sure to unfasten the tape from the bandage when removing. One who customarily unfastens the tape each time he opens the bandage is permitted to fasten with the tape on Yom Tov. Okay, so let's do this piece again and try to understand one more time. Similarly, one should not use band-aid or tape to secure a cloth or gauze bandage in place in a Yom Tov, because usually those are not changed like every day, most of the time. So that's the thing. So we're afraid that he's going to leave it in place for more than one day, right? However, if one did secure it with a tape, so after the fact, as we said, we can go by leniency, there is opinion up to 7 days. One should be sure to unfasten the tape from the bandage when removing it. So usually, like, people just remove and throw out, and that's the problem. So remember to unfasten. Okay. One who customarily unfasten the tape. Okay, so so a person always remember. Okay. Each time he opens the bandage, is permitted to fasten it on Yom Tov. So since it is a nature of the person that he's going to do or she's going to do it every time and fasten the tape, there is no problem. So they can do it on Yom Tov, and since it's like up to 7 days, no problem. They can do that. Okay. Of course, it is more secure, right, than with something else. Continue. Some poskim state that one should not peel off the plastic tabs on a new band-aid on Yom Tov. Rather, one should peel them off and reattach before the Yom Tov. One is permitted to remove them on Yom Tov when in need of band-aid, since they are attached only temporarily. However, Hagaon Harav Moshe finds in Zatzal and other authorities rule that it is permitted to peel off the tabs on Yom Tov, even for the first time. The issue of removing band-aid from hairy part, here we go, of the body is discussed in chapter 19. Okay, so what do we learn about the plucking? Okay, so let's do this piece one more time. We're going to explain. So this like plastic parts, like on a band, and like those parts we're talking about, these adhesive parts, right? That's what we're talking about. So because in some sense they're also glued, right? In some sense, that's how they're held in place. So one more time, some poskim state that one should not peel off the plastic tabs of a new band-aid on Yom Tov, right? So those poskim say, right? So you're not allowed to sew, and you're not allowed to tear. Tear meaning that something was attached and now we detached two things. So that's how they see these plastic tabs, but right. So according to this opinion, it's stringent opinion. They say undo it, right, and then put it back. Like for example, you know that for Shabbos or Yom Tov you need 5 band-aids, let's say, right? So you can prepare them before Yom Tov, but right. But according to Rav Moshe Feinstein and others, I mean, they were not attached permanently when they were like. That's the only purpose of these tabs is to prevent this preserve this adhesive, right, side. That's it. It's not like they don't have any other role. That's it, right? And they were made so it's easy to detach, because why? It was not made permanently, so that's why I would say don't think about it too much. If you need to use it, just use it. Okay. Packages?
Rabbi?
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a few questions on the board. The first one goes, Shem Rav. If one has band-aids on hand, is washing hands considered laundry on Shabbos?
So if he has on a finger, for example, band-aid, if he washes, no, it's not. It's not. But it's a very good question. It's a very good question because I'm going to explain when we describe the laundry, the melach of laundry. So we say that something that is pliable, right? And I would say the band-aid would be one of them. But since it is attached to the skin, so it has different purpose. So it's not, and you don't care it's to be dirty. I mean, you can always replace it. Okay. But anyway, like for example, if I have a band-aid, I'm trying not to pour water on it. Okay. But when we're eating bread, like if you have like I don't know, if it's something like you have no choice, of course you're going to wet it. Okay. What else?
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome.